projection where all the stars are slightly blurred, and then suddenly all this goes black. There's no more stars, there's nothing, there's no coloring at all. They're in the fine matter world now, and it's just this plain, dark, black area. And at the moment, there's no sensations whatever. Suddenly, the darkness gives way to kind of a golden color. All around him becomes gold, and then slowly moves off into kind of a silver color. Everything is changing, and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. The light becomes kind of a glistening, like a sparkling sort of thing, and gets super bright. And Billy notes that it's brighter than looking at a sun, but yet it doesn't hurt your eyes. Well, of course it wouldn't. At this point, you don't have any eyes. You're in a non-physical existence. The ship has just made its jump into hyperspace. There's a time dilation, it's called. All of your particles, all of the physical existence then, are now in a fine matter state. They're only existing as energy. Matter has been converted to energy, and it is now programmed for 7 minutes to be in this timeless situation. Well, in Billy's notes, there's about 5 pages here describing his thoughts of all the things that went through his mind while he's in this 7 minutes of eternity. So, not having it experienced myself, I can't tell you exactly what it's like. He said words even escaped him also, but I'll try to do the best I can explaining what the 7 minutes were like in this eternity. After he's immediately overcome with kind of the sensation of the light, he's still aware of himself. He's still aware of his personality, his own identity, and he's still thinking like in his normal mind. He has that awareness. But one of the first things that really happens is his feeling is changing. And he starts using a word like magnificent, magnificent. Man, oh man, this eternity, it's magnificent. What a feeling. And he's going on and on here a little bit about how his feelings are starting to change. There's this wonderful feeling of comfort, of love overcoming him. Gone and dissipating are any feelings and stress, the remembrances, the thoughts of the physical life. Several times throughout this, he will start to remember what it was like in the physical life. Oh man, he says, oh, the physical life, so much pain and strife, and it's hard work and difficulties of putting up with the material physical world. How different this is. How wonderful this is over here in the fine matter world. Because what's happening? We go through life perceiving everything with our physical senses, don't we? Sight, feel, touch, smell, hearing, so forth. And we perceive everything with those senses, and then we make decisions and judgments and values and everything based off of our physical thing. But we're not used to perceiving things with our spiritual self. And this is what's beginning to happen to Billy. Initially, I should say, when he first gets into this fine matter world, he's not used to experiencing things with the non-physical, so there's still the feeling of self. And then slowly, after a little bit of time here, he begins to start sensing things around him with his spirit. He's disconnected now from his physical senses. Sight, feel, touch, and smell, they're gone. So you no longer perceive information with those senses. You begin to perceive the information with your spiritual self. Very much like you would do in a very deep, deep meditation. But here, there are no physical senses, so it's like instantly into the deepest form of meditation that you could probably get. And a few really wonderful things start to happen. First of all, he begins to feel his spirit. He can understand his spiritual self without bearing the weight of any physical existence. This is probably something like what happens to us now when we slip off, when we die, and we leave the physical body. Suddenly there's this dissipation of the physical awareness. And he's becoming aware of his spiritual self. And he's sensing his surroundings. And he starts to feel the presence of other beings. He feels the presence just mildly. He almost hears someone calling out to him, but he can't quite grasp it. But he knows that there are other energies around him. He's probably experiencing the other people that are on the ship that are going through the same thing. So this feeling continues to grow into him. And now after a minute or so, all the feelings of the physical are left behind. And he's left in there in this glistening light, becoming aware of the fact that he's slowly becoming in touch with eternity. And he starts to see this clearer and clearer. What's happening here? He's getting in touch and he's sensing the creational energy, and here we're using creational energy and eternity to mean the same thing. He's becoming aware of this energy. Normally we're not aware of this. We're so busy perceiving everything with our physical senses that we don't really have any living physical proof that there is a God force or creational energy, whatever you want to call it, really out there. But now Billy is slowly becoming aware that it does exist, and here it is. His feelings slowly start growing into the fact that he realizes that he's no longer alone. He is not just one individual. In our physical world, we're like that. We think of all of ourself first. Me, I, because we're always aware just of self, and we go out and perceive other people and other things with our senses. Here something new is happening. Here he's in a spiritual form, and he's sensing the other spirit forms around him, and suddenly he's feeling the connection to other spirit forms. He's beginning to feel like that connection between all spirit forms, where everybody's connected together, sharing. There's a connection between all the people, and there's something greater even in here. There's even something better than just the connection to the other spirit forms. They are all, and he also is connected to the creational energy. And for the first time, he's beginning to feel very strongly that it is really there. There's this overwhelming feeling of love and calm and warmth and just generally feeling good. There are no more feelings brought on from the physical world of depression, of anger, of anything. Any tensions are left behind from the physical world, and you're left alone in this blissful state where the creational energy that's out there, which is perfection itself, is beginning to move in and make its impression on his spirit, and he and everyone on the ship is feeling it. Imagine, if you can, the ability to shut off your physical existence and just for a moment to feel the complete love and perfection of the spiritual energy of the universe. Billy's starting to move into this. He suddenly becomes aware that death is no big deal at all, that it is no great terror or horror. It's simply a conversion from the material form into the fine matter form. And actually it's a really wonderful, blissful state. That over here in this fine matter world, there is existence. And most importantly, there is awareness and there is connection with other spirits and the creational energy of the universe. So he's becoming more and more fulfilled with this. As he's doing this, the things that he's learned about spirituality, about adding things to your spirit and this accumulative wisdom, become more and more clear to him, because he can begin to feel other spirits all of different levels. He can sense people, their spirits, that they are different levels of evolution. And he can feel clearly now that everyone in here, there are millions of spirits, uncountable spirits, all connected to creation, and that everyone has their own path. Everyone's on their own level of evolution. You see, again, the reason for the physical life is to gather information with your senses. You create logic, you have experiences, and when you've had experience and it becomes part of yourself physically, the wisdom from that experience is passed on to your spirit. That information moves on from lifetime to lifetime. And as your spirit gathers in wisdom, that's what spiritual evolution is. So everyone is slightly at a different spot. We're all learning different things and experiencing things at different times. So it's a little different from all of us. We're all on our own paths of discovery and going different places. So the important thing is that Billy is sensing this very clearly. He can feel other spirits and sense that they're all different, that they're all experiencing different things. They have different feelings about them, but they're all connected to creation, and they all share that in common. What a wonderful thing it would be on our world, in our physical world, if we learn to calm down and use our spirit when we meet someone, to perceive them as a spiritual being instead of just what we experience with our physical. Normally, let's say a plant, for instance. Normally you just go drive by a bush and you don't think anything of it because it's just something to walk by. Now maybe if you're really into flowers, you might stop